Hello, good morning dear students. Welcome back once again. So in last video we discussed about three methods of transmission of heat or heat transfer. Today we will discuss about a topic based on one of these methods, and that is thermal conductivity and coefficient of thermal conductivity. Now from the term conductivity you can clearly understand that it is purely based on conduction. But what is thermal conductivity? Thermal means related to heat. And conductivity means ability to conduct it, or you can say activity to conduct it, or the property which determines the rate of flow of heat. Why? Because from our daily experiences we all know that if a piece of wood is held on fire, then it is not so difficult to hold on the other end because it doesn't get heated, isn't it, very quickly. Okay, we can hold it for a long period of time. But if we perform this experiment with an iron handle, it is very difficult because after a very short period of time, rapidly it transmitted to the other end and it gets heated and it burns our hand. Similarly, in summer, isn't it, any object made up of iron gets heated very quickly, whereas any material such as wood or plastic doesn't get heated too much like iron or any objects like that. Again, in winter, if we touch an iron chair, it feels very cold, isn't it? But if we touch a wooden chair, it doesn't feel so much colder. So this is conductivity. So we can say, it means the ability which determines the rate of the flow of heat, isn't it? But how much heat can flow through a substance with time, isn't it? So it means conductivity, we can easily say conductivity is the property of a material which determines how easily heat can flow or heat can conduct through it. A body with higher conductivity means heat can easily flow through it, and a body with less conductivity, we can say it cannot flow through it or it cannot conduct heat through itself easily. So based on this conductivity, all the materials are of two types. One is called good conductor and one is called bad conductor or insulator. So what are the good conductors? We all know that generally all metals, isn't it? All metals are good conductors. It means the materials which allows the heat, to flow through it, or heat can conduct, or heat can flow through it easily, they are called good conductors. Generally all the metals are categorized into good conductors, whereas the materials through which heat cannot flow, heat cannot pass easily, or heat cannot conduct easily, they are called good conductors or bad conductors. That is plastic, wood, isn't it, glass, rubber, all these materials. Clear? So we can say the conductivity of all the materials are not same. Different materials or substances possesses different conductivity. Clear? So this is thermal conductivity. Now what is coefficient of thermal conductivity? The coefficient of thermal conductivity means the quantity. So since this is thermal conductivity, but if we want to measure the thermal conductivity, how we will measure it? This is coefficient of thermal conductivity. It means the quantity through which we can measure thermal conductivity through different materials quantitatively is called coefficient of thermal conductivity. Very clear? Because we all know that in good conductors, we have already discussed in last videos, since in case of good conductors, that is all the metals, there are large number of free electrons which almost behaves like molecules, which moves random, isn't it? Which takes crucial part in flow of heat. Generally, materials, good conductors are almost okay. The good conductors are also good conductor of electricity also. Good conductors of heat are also good conductors of electricity also. Whereas the insulator or bad conductor of heat are also bad conductors of electricity or insulator also. So now let's find out the coefficient of thermal conductivity. It means, as I said, it means how fast or slow and with amount. Any material, if its conductivity is high, it means it can conduct an immense amount, a larger amount of heat through a very small period of time rapidly. And a body with less conductivity, which are called bad conductor or insulator. They can conduct less amount of heat with less, okay, with time. So now to find out the coefficient of thermal conductivity, we will assume a block, isn't it? A thick block of any material. It may be of good conductor, bad conductor, okay, isn't it? Maybe of metal, non-metal, whatsoever. Okay, a rectangular block you can see. Clear? Having cross section, okay, A of capital A. The temperature of the left face of the left side is T1. It is better to write theta 1 since it also depends on time. So it will not be a good idea to use two T's. Theta 1 greater than, okay. So it's one face having temperature theta 1 and the other side is theta 2. Here theta 1 is greater than theta 2. It means this side is at high temperature, means hot, and this side is low. So obviously the flow of Gibbs heat will be from this side to this. Q is the total amount of heat conduct through it from one phase to another. D is its thickness, we can say, distance of thickness of the metal. Okay. So heat, and we will assume here no heat is escaped. It means we are considering the ideal situation, which is not possible as I have said in practical life. But here we will assume in ideal condition, okay, no heat is lost. Okay, there is no loss of heat in this case through convection or radiation. It means whatever the temperature is entering through this side, it will come out through this, and it is only possible in which state? That is steady state. Okay, so A is the total cross section area, Q is the total amount of heat which is transmitted through it from hot phase to cold phase, D is the total amount, is the thickness, and in time t. So the amount of conducted heat in time t in steady state from this place to this place to this, obviously the total amount of heat will be directly proportional to area, because more will be its area, isn't it? More amount of heat it will absorb, Q proportional to it. Q is inversely proportional to 1 by D. Okay, why? Now suppose if it is a very thin sheet, so amount of heat will just conduct, isn't it? Much amount of heat, because there will be no inside. Since you can see there is a thickness inside the block, there is no loss of heat in terms of in outside. Mind it, no outside. But if it is thick enough, then it can absorb, okay, little amount of heat inside. So if it is less thick, it means as soon as the heat will, okay, as soon as the heat will enter through this, as soon as it will be through the side, much amount of heat. But if it is thick, very thick, then the heat will enter through this, then it will take time through this, it means some amount of heat. More path it will will transfer. Inside there are some materials also, if it is of glass, so inside there are a huge amount of mass of glass, so it will absorb little bit some amount of heat. So we can say the amount of heat which will transfer will come out through this, maybe little amount of less, okay, maybe little less than amount of heat through here. So that's why we will say Q is inversely proportional to D. Very easy, very thin. As soon as enter, it will come out, same amount of heat. But if it was very thick, it will enter, then it will conduct, it will traverse this part, then enter. So may little amount of heat may loss, that is Q proportional to 1 by D. Q proportional to temperature difference. Q proportional to temperature difference. Why? As you all know that more will be difference in the temperature, more heat is required. If we heat, suppose one body is at 10 degrees centigrade. Now if we want to heat it up to 20 degrees centigrade, the amount of heat is required. Okay, but if we some amount of heat is required. But if the body, if we want to heat from 10 degrees C to 100 degrees C, so obviously we need to apply more amount of heat. So Q is directly proportional to temperature difference, and obviously the amount of heat is directly proportional to time. If we heat a body for 5 minutes, okay, but if we heat a body for 1 hour, in second case the amount of heat will be much greater. So Q proportional to T. So combinedly we can get this equation. Q is directly proportional to A into theta 1 minus theta 2 into time divided by D, or Q equals to K A theta 1 minus theta 2 by D, because whenever we remove any proportional sign, we need a constant of proportionality, that is K. Here K is constant, which is called coefficient of thermal conductivity. It is the quantity which determines the thermal conductivity of any material quantitatively. Quantitatively means how much amount of heat will flow through it depending on time. isn't it? If it is of high conductivity, much amount of heat, more amount of heat it will absorb or conduct through it, very less period of time. If it is less conductivity, less amount of heat through it, will be at high time. Okay. Now, if we want to get the definition of the thermal coefficient of thermal conductivity, we can easily, okay, if A equals to D equals to theta 1 minus theta 2 T equals to 1, it means, look at this. If we put in place of A, theta 1 minus theta 2 T by D, all the values, if we assume 1, A equals to 1, theta 1 minus theta 2 1, T equals to 1, T is equal to 1, then you can see, we can clearly establish Q equals to K, isn't it? So from this relation, we can easily define coefficient of thermal conductivity. It means coefficient of thermal conductivity is the amount of heat which passes through any material between two surfaces of unit temperature difference, having unit surface area of unit thickness and at unit time. Clear? So this is coefficient of thermal conductivity. The amount of heat which flows through any material having unit surface, okay, having unit cross section area of unit thickness, okay, and it unit, and if it contains unit temperature difference between these two sides in unit time, it is called coefficient of thermal conductivity. So from this relation, so that is K is equal to Q, very easy. So from here we can easily write K is equal to Q into D, A theta 1 minus theta 2 into T. Okay. So it means, it is very clear, so far I have discussed, it means if K is greater, since it determines the amount, the thermal conductivity quantitatively, so it means any material having higher coefficient of thermal conductivity means its conductivity is higher. It means it's obvious it will be a good conductor. And any bad conductor, it means, and the materials which are bad conductors or insulator, the value of coefficient of thermal conductivity is less. Very clear, isn't it? So it means good conductors having higher coefficient of thermal conductivity, whereas insulators or bad conductors possess less or lower coefficient of thermal conductivity. So in case of ideal conductor, we may say superconductor. We have learned, isn't it, about the superconductor in electricity. So we can say in case of superconductor of heat, K is infinitive. Very clear. More will be thermal conductivity, more will be its conductive nature, good conductivity nature. If K is equal to 0, we may say it is ideal insulator. But as I say, in practical life, in this terrestrial world, it is not possible to get an ideal conductor or an ideal superconductor of heat or electricity, whereas it is also impossible to get or achieve an ideal insulator also. Clear? So if we want to get the unit, what should be units? The unit can be easily established from this, isn't it? Clear? That is Q. What is Q in M case? That is joule, which is centimeter, then it is centimeter square, or meter, sorry, joule, then meter, meter square, Kelvin, second. So since it is meter square and meter, so meter in the denominator it will be meter, so that's why meter inverse. So joule per second per meter per Kelvin. Then if we establish in SI, we can easily then do in serious system. That is calorie instead of joule, calorie per second, okay, per centimeter, per degree centigrade. Clear? Now next, what does this equation state or explain? Now from here we have assumed that there is no amount of heat, there is no loss of heat in the outside through the slab. But if the temperature, if amount of heat is lost from this place to high temperature, okay, from this side to this side, isn't it? In the first case we have assumed that there is no loss of heat from its two sides into the surroundings. But if it happens, that case it means dq is equal to minus k d theta dx. Dx is the distance. This is the distance through which it loses heat, isn't it? Dx into dt. Clear? Here it is, that is dx. Here instead of d, here we have placed dx through distance. So very small amount of heat, dq. It is not huge amount of heat generally lost. It doesn't happen. It is small amount of heat generally lost, isn't it? So that is dq is equal to minus ka into d theta into, okay, that is from this dq is equal to minus k into a d theta into dx into dt. Why is minus? Negative sign always indicates some opposite property. Here negative sign indicates that with the rate of time the amount of heat is decreasing, isn't it? It means since the amount of heat is lost, maybe in the form of convection or radiation, so the amount of heat which will enter through it, and then when it will reach through this side or come out, it will be not same, it will decrease. So negative sign indicates that. as soon as time will pass, gradually with time the amount of heat will decrease. So that's why there is minus sign. So in that case, rate of flow of heat is dq by dt is equal to minus ka d theta by dx. Clear? So this is thermal conductivity and coefficient of thermal conductivity. Hope you have understood clearly. Okay, see you on in next video. Bye.